Alright, is Phantom Epoch just like Gloomhaven? What are the differences? Today, I really want to answer that question, but the first thing I want to do is kind of go through this Kickstarter, because I think going through the Kickstarter is going to help you understand the differences here. So I'll kind of skim through the most, but I really want to focus on the gameplay of Phantom Epoch. My main goal of here is not just to go through the Kickstarter that you could already go through. What I want to do is I want to kind of add in that little bit of detail. I have played this game quite a bit. I've done a handful of content videos for it, so I do know a good amount about this. So I'm going to kind of go through, give you the little details, and then at the end, I'm going to tell you the points where it's good and bad, and how it's like Gloomhaven and how it's not like Gloomhaven. So before we get into this, I do want to let you know my biases with this game. doTERRA Games was the first company that allowed me to review their game and make content for them before their Kickstarter. I was super excited when they gave it to me. I was a super small YouTuber, still a small YouTuber, but I was super excited that they actually gave me the chance. They were the first company to give me that chance as a small YouTuber. So I'm very grateful to them that they were able to let me do that for them. And it just so happens that I ended up loving the game, that I've done even more content than they even asked for, just because I've had so much fun with the game. But so that is my biases. Let's go ahead and jump on in. It's almost 75,000, which is actually amazing with a goal of 20,000. I'm actually blown away by this. This is a relaunch, meaning the first time they did not meet their goal, and now they're well over 300% of their goal within the first 10 days. Amazing. I'm so excited that this is funding this time. I had so much fun with this game. Anyways, let's go ahead and go on in. So welcome to Phantom Epoch. So this is a sci-fi themed campaign game where you're going to have different classes, different characters, different species. You can kind of build your own hand that you're going through. So it's a deck crafting, building kind of game. As you see, there are about 40 missions within the whole campaign, meaning at least 6 to 8 hour co-op campaign, which I think is almost kind of hitting that sweet spot where this seems pretty manageable. There's 40 missions, but you're not always going to play every single one. You might kind of go on different branches. I think this is a big thing that they advertise here, is that it's solo mode. Nowadays, it's so important to have solo mode. There are thousands of people who like solo gaming. So I think this is a good sell here. You do have to play two characters, so it's not a true solo. However, it is not overwhelming to play two characters. As you can see, at this time, right now, we're going to the Timeless Berserker, and this is 100,000 Canadian. If we look at Kick Track here, it's got the Canadian pledge level here, which is 97,000. So it's actually almost to this new stretch goal. So they're actually getting there, which is awesome. We got into the standard edition, 70 USD, which includes everything needed to play. So one thing I wanted to point out here, it seems really weird of how they did this, where it's like, here's the standard edition, you have everything you need to play. And then deluxe edition, where it's like, well, what am I supposed to have for the standard edition? Like, what's the difference between the two? It does explain it later on. However, it's kind of weird how it just states it right there. So maybe they need to like title here pledge levels, so you at least know what you're looking at. Because I almost expected there to be like what's in that. And then you have the deluxe edition, which gives you those bases that track your health. Then you do have this new arsonist for a class. I think this is awesome. I definitely went in with this one because I mean, it's arsonist. Who doesn't want to play with fire, right? Here we go. So now we get to the standard edition. However, it says, includes everything. It has the 20 plastic holders. It has the standard mission book, which is only 120 grams paper stock. 4 Phantom Epoch upgrade cards. And then that's it. And then see below for additional components. I do understand that to an extent because this is going to show you what down below, what comes in both of them. It was just kind of weird looking when I first looked at it. Because then it goes into the deluxe edition. You are going to get the free expansion of the Volanin, which is like a bird species. You are going to get the miniatures with health tracking bases. All the enemies are going to come as standees. Well, also for bases that track their HP. You're going to get a lot thicker cardstock and a unique cover design. That front one's going to be a little bit extra special, I guess. And then the deluxe Phantom Epoch board, instead of just having cards you could have, it actually is a board that you could pull out. At least the prototype was nice, thick board. I don't know what the final result was going to be, but the prototype was nice and thick. Cardboard was quite nice. They have unlocked the game trays for the characters and also some organization stuff, which we'll see here in a little bit. Here we come into what's in both standard and deluxe editions, where you're going to have character standees, you're going to have 98 adversary standees, and then you're going to have 12 characters and classes. So this is actually one thing that I really like about this game. You start off with these 4 basic rogue, healer, warrior, and ranger. And whichever one you pick, it levels up. So the ranger will go from ranger to survivalist to a sharpshooter, where you get a whole new hand of cards, you get new abilities and everything. So I'm actually really excited about that. I didn't get to try any of that out on the prototype. The prototype just had these 4, so I'm really excited to see what these upgrades are all about. It's going to have its own character board here, and then it's going to have more than 600 cards, with your character card, your species card, which actually this is something that was not in the prototype. But these are going to be metal core cards, which actually I think that's kind of cool. They're actually using some magnetic stuff for the deluxe edition. So when you upgrade your character stuff, it's actually a magnetic thing that will just go right onto that metal card. Actually, I think that's a cool thing that I haven't seen before. I'm excited for that. Adversary description cards, which we'll get into this a little bit later. Adversary class cards and adversary species cards. We'll get into these three a little bit later down. I think this is one of the things that makes it super, super unique, and I really like this part about the game. Then expedition cards, you have your event cards, some items, equipment, attachments, and then boss adversary boards and cards. Then a whole buttload of tokens, right? That's nothing new. You got some tracker sheets. And then, this is one thing I wanted to point out that I have no idea about. You got the basic, blitz, decision, and accuracy die. And then 2 secret unlockable die. I'm actually super excited about that. I really like the play of these dice, which I'll get into them a little bit deeper as we get into the actual gameplay. Here we have the Grolix, the humans, and the Slinks. So this is the bases that track your HP. Basically, each character's got a little arrow right there at the base, and then you point it towards whatever number. That white one that goes up underneath, that one means it's plus 10. So if that one has it, you 10 plus whatever number's there. So if it's like 30, or 29, you'll have 2 of those white bases and then it put on 9. One thing that does say here is that it does reduce table clutter, which is for sure thing, right? Every other game you have to have a sideboard or the HP little tokens are following them around the board. So I do 100% love this about this is it makes tracking HP so much simpler. You know which one has what. They actually have for the enemies, there's a standee that you put the standee and then there's actually extra slots that you can put the condition tokens. So right there on everything follows around with the base. You don't have to like slide stuff. It doesn't have to be cluttered up the board or the table. So I really like that. The one thing that I don't like about it is every time the enemy gets hurt, you have to pick up the mini, turn it, put it back down. Oh, wait, was he in this space or this space? Right, so you have to kind of pay attention to where they're at before you actually pick them up off the board, or you just reach across the board and turn it on the board without picking them up. And another thing that I kind of worry about with these, the wear and tear within those, I really don't know what that will be. So I really hope that those are good high quality plastic and stuff. So the wear and tear does not become really a thing too quickly at least. Then we go on, you could, if you don't get the deluxe version, you can just buy the Volanin. So I don't know how to, which is basically this bird species. And then of course the Arsonist that we've already seen, which it also comes with its 2 upgrade class from an Arsonist, which I'm really interested to see what they are. Like where do you go to after being an Arsonist? Like a pyromancer? Ooh. Oh, that just hit me at... Oh, that would be legit if he turned into a pyromancer. That'd be sweet. Anyways, let's go ahead. And now we get into the how to play. So here's some how to play video. I heard this guy right here is an amazing person. Go subscribe to him. So real quick, we'll get into the stretch goals and then we'll get into the how to play. So these are the stretch goals that have already been unlocked. This one actually I'm super excited for because this is one thing that I kind of had a hard time with. I love how the book opens up, but the problem was it was on the other side of the board. So every time I had to read something, I had to like stand up and like read across the table, lean over and read whatever was going to happen. Right? Not the worst thing in the world, but just kind of inconvenient. So this is awesome. Basically, you could flip that book backwards so it takes up way less space, and then you just read that book on your iPad or on your phone. And it does say that it prevents spoilers before you're ready to advance on, which you can see there, right, which I'll show this up on the screen too. But here it shows like, don't read past this, which, right, when it's that far away from each other, like it's hard not to read. Where I'm hoping within this digital version, it basically just won't have that. You could click on it when you're ready, so then it will show up. I think that's a big plus. And then they're adding in some more adversaries here. This is what I was talking about, before game tray storage, we got this, so now there's better storage within it. You've got another Lipran, which is another adversary that added on. You've got more storage stuff for the resource tokens, which I want to caveat with this here. So Chronicles of Drunagor 1.0 did this, where they got game trays for the tokens, but all it was just straight rows where you just put all the tokens. There was no organization to it. You just had to put them all out there, and then you had to sort through them when you're looking for one. So I'm kind of saying this, hopefully that doTERRA Games reads into this. Hopefully they have actual separation where here's where the burn goes, here's where the orbs go, here's, right? So it kind of organizes it out instead of just having one big tray to have it all in there. That was a little rough. Chronicles of Drunagor 1.5, the reprint, they fixed it, which is so much better. Then another adversary here, the Timeless Archer. And this is the one that we've almost got here, the Timeless Berserker. And then more is coming. Just blown away with how good this is doing. And I'm so excited for it because I was so sad when it didn't fund the first time, because it is such a good game. There's really nothing wrong with it. I just think people didn't hear about it, didn't get out, because I was the only content creator that really did many videos on it. I'm not that big of a YouTuber. I mean, we'll see how many people actually watch this, right? So the fact that now One Stop Co-op Shop has done a video on it, Board Game Co has done a review, Quackalope has done a preview, like now that like bigger YouTubers have actually done it, I think that word's gotten out and people realize how good of a game it is. So super excited about that. So we have unlocked a new print and play mission, but we're still looking for 2 other print and play missions. All right, here we go. Key gameplay of the elements. Sorry that took a little bit longer. I was trying to go fast, but I have a lot to say about this game because it's awesome. Here is the mission books, right? You've got 2 of them. They sit side by side. The bottom portion is your map. The top portion is what I was talking about, right? That's your storyline there. You keep flipping the book and each page is different, is a different map that you can play on for each level. This is one thing that makes setup super easy. One thing here as well that they have that I'll kind of show a picture here and zoom up on it. So it has a picture on the board of where they're going to spawn for the setup in the future. When it tells you to spawn it, it'll put you on this grid. So it'll be like spawn one at, C7. And so you spawn one right there, right? You've got some event cards that you'll draw each turn. You'll play your character action cards. How many action points they have is going to depend on your initiative for the order. Lower is faster, higher is slower. Then you're going to draw 2 adversary cards, which this is one, like I said, is one of the most unique things about this game. So I'm going to talk about this here real quick for a little bit. You're going to have a species and a class deck for each adversary. And you're going to flip one of each round. And this is the cool part. So every one of that species is going to have that attack command. Then, depending on what color of base that character has, depends on what they will do that round. And as you can see, the initiative numbers are also different. So the blue one might go, and then you might go, and then the red one might go, and then your friend will go, and then the yellow one will go, right? So it's totally different every single time. I love the variety with that. That makes it so much more exciting and unknown of what's going to happen. And then you play your cards. When you get an attack, attacks are usually pretty basic. You'll have anything from like a +0 to a +3 to the attack. You'll roll either the basic die or the blitz die, and whatever you roll is how much damage you do. If you have any additives, you'll add those on. The basic die is just your basic attack. It's got 1 crit and 1 fumble, which is like your critical failure. However, the blitz die, I believe it has 3 crits and 3 fumbles, and then the numbers are super high, or 2 crits and 3 fumbles, something like that, right? So your chances of critting a lot higher, but also fumbling a lot higher. The healing thing is actually super interesting with this one, is you get these bandage tokens every time you're healed, and you only have spots for 2 bandages. So you can't just sit there and keep healing after every single turn, because you can only take 2 heals, whether it's heal 1 HP or whether it's heal 10 HP. That 1 heal action will give you a bandage. There are certain abilities to take away a bandage, usually by the healer, but I like that kind of constraint there that makes it kind of push it a little bit further to the edge. And then you've got equipment and these Nova Cells, which I think is really cool. Nova Cells are both the money in this game as well as energy in the game. So as you can see here, this Nova Cell is on this equipment, and you actually have to spend that energy to be able to use that equipment. However, also, as you can see right here, it costs 2 Nova Cells to buy this thing. Both your power cell as well as your money as well. Then after each scenario, you're going to perform some expedition, which basically as it shows here, you'll read some type of thematic thing, and then you'll make a choice, and whatever you choose, something will happen. This is pretty cool. I kind of like how do they do this. This is how famous you could be. The more checks you have, the more famous you are. The more famous you are, the more equipment that is available to you on that certain planet. Because there are 3 different planets that you can go to and have your fame in each one. So I like that, how they have those 3 different worlds there. And then here's that equipment. There's 3 tiers, depending on your fame within that planet is depending on what tier you could buy. Also, another thing that I really like about this game, when you play a card, as you can see here, each one has a name and a number and then some type of action here. Basically, when you play it, you're going to choose as many cards as you want, up to a certain amount of action points that your character can use each turn, but you could use anywhere from 1 to that max AP, whether that's 1 card. So like this row could just play the Phantom and his initiative would just be 2. So he would go super quick, but he's only doing Phantom. Where here, he's doing 3 things, and so his initiative's 9, so he's going second, whereas this warrior is doing a heavy swing and a lunge, so he actually goes way slow because he's doing a lot more. So also this initiative number is also the movement number that you, instead of doing the main action here, you can instead convert it to a movement of 5. Right here, he could do these 3 actions or he could move 9. So super cool of how that initiative works. I really like that. And then it comes back to the ship that you're upgrading. The more you upgrade, the more items and equipment that you could get. Right here, you upgrade the workshop, so it's going to give you the new secret dice that we were just talking about. If you upgrade the surgical room, you're going to upgrade your HP, AP, and abilities. See here, this is what I was talking about here. The sticks right to your species card, metal card, which I think is super awesome. And then your laboratory, which is it's going to give you more items as you go throughout. More items are going to be available to you. And then advanced simulations is what's going to give you... Oh. Okay, so maybe I said this wrong earlier. It looks like instead of going from 1, 2, 3, it's 1 and then 2 or 2, basically. Is what it looks like, depending on what you do on your mission. Which is actually pretty cool. I don't know if they'll have ability to get to the other one. If need be, I don't know how they're going to work that, but that's actually really cool. I like that mechanic. Oh, there's that metal part metal magnetic stuff I was talking about. I mean, as you can see here, there's so many more people now that have played this game and have good quotes. Ooh, look at that. There's that awesome guy again, man. People should subscribe to him. And it was go down a lot of playtesters, right? A lot of positive comments about this game. A lot of more videos of it. One part that everyone is super worried about is shipping. I really hope that they could keep to these because these seem awesome. Like, that's not bad for the deluxe edition, $23, and just another $3 to add in the arsonist. I think that's pretty reasonable. I really hope that they actually can keep to these shipping prices because I don't think those are too bad at all. So now let's get into Gloomhaven versus Phantom Epoch. So I really wanted to go through everything just so you could see everything explained a little bit more before I actually go into details here. So at first glance, I will admit that this game definitely looks a lot like Gloomhaven, especially Jaws of the Lion because of the flip book. So I definitely understand the questions with all of it. The main things that are the same are the hex board, the fact that it's in a book, the fact that you have managing a hand of cards every turn, the fact that there's miniatures for the heroes and standees for the enemies, that seems similar. At the end of each scenario, you're going to have that little scenario card that gives you an option A or B. After that, that's about all the similarities. Now, I'm sure I'll get a lot of comments saying, oh, what about this and this and this? Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of other small little things, but those are like the big similarities. When you get down to it, the initiative is way different. How the enemies activate is way different. The abilities of each hero is completely different. The fact that you're using dice and you could chance it with that blitz die, I think is awesome. One thing I forgot to talk about is the accuracy dice. I mean, if you saw my comment, I love the ranger and the accuracy dice with range attacks. I think is an amazing kind of... I love that accuracy dice. I think it's a fun little thing because you can manipulate it actually with the ranger and stuff. Lots of fun. Like I said before, that enemy activation, I absolutely love that variety that it gives you. In the prototype, there were 10 missions, right? So I played about a quarter of it, and each level seemed completely different. One thing that I was worried about, when you just see a map this big, and it's always going to be about that big because there's no extra books that you could add into. So I was kind of worried, but the way that you have destructible objects and indestructible objects, and the fact that you're trying to get the orbs, each mission you're going to have a different mission, right? It's not just, oh, go kill everyone. There's usually different type of missions that you're trying to get to, you're trying to do. So I really appreciate that about it. And then obviously the story is completely different, right? Because it's a sci-fi themed game. So when you get down to it, when you start playing, it does not feel anything like Gloomhaven. And that's why I say when you, at first glance, it looks like it. When you start playing with it, those little differences become huge because that means your strategy is different. That means the way you move around the enemies are going to be different. Everything feels different when you start playing it. So if you're worried about like, oh, is it just another Gloomhaven? I wouldn't worry about that too much because once you start playing it, really separates itself and singles itself out as a very unique game. Let me know down in the comments what you think some similarities and differences might be. If you agree or disagree with me. Let me know if you have any questions down in the comments below. Let me know if you have any questions about this game. I'm more than happy to answer any questions. They do have a Discord channel, which they are very active in. So if you have any questions, they're super happy to answer. They've been super active in it, even before the campaign. And now during the campaign, they've been super active. Please don't hesitate to ask questions, and I'll see you next time.